Alrighty, here we are. Another day, another month, another monthly report. Hello, my friends. Welcome to another Monday. I already said that. Welcome to another monthly report. I said that too. Hi. We're gonna go over the monthly report today for Star Citizen. Welcome. That was my best awkward introduction I can do, and I hope you enjoyed it. How y'all doing today? Ted, Francesco, a Maimon 07's buddy, Toki. I see you first on Twitch. Always great to be first on Twitch on the big old perp. Guys, today has been a day. Okay. Today has been a day. We've been all over the place. We got the puppo into surgery today. So she went in and out in a couple of hours. She's good. She's in recovery downstairs and she's doing all good. But like, that's been basically I didn't do any work. I wasn't like doing any planning or anything like that. So we're going into this blind because we've been taking care of the puppy and she deserves it. She deserves it more than anything. She's been great. But glad to be here with all of you for a couple of hours so we can look at the monthly report, see what's been going on with Star Citizen development, like we don't already know a decent amount of it, and see if you guys like anything that's coming up. I'd be interested in hearing what kind of stuff we hear from here that you are interested in seeing if you think it's coming in the next year. I think there's some stuff in here that we probably won't see for a little while, but this is a long report. I don't know if you haven't read it yet. It is long. AI section is huge, just keeps growing. It's huge. Art section's actually tiny, which is really funny because this is usually the longest segment, usually where we get a lot of information. But features, ooh, they go hard on features, and that's what we love to see. So we're gonna jump into this feature-heavy monthly report here in a couple of minutes and see what they've got to say. Many treatos for the puppo. Yep, soft pettings. She's got pillows, she's got blankets, she's got water, and in about 2 hours, I'll be able to give her some food, and then she'll have a nice calm night. We're letting her be in like this, we have this kind of closed area, this vestibule, I guess you could call it, like in front of the house, where we keep all of our shoes and stuff, and we just cleared that out. We're letting her stay there for the night. It's a little warmer and more comfortable for her. What do I got for snacks? Oh, I did say we have snacks, didn't I? What is this? What is this? This is intense brownie. Dolu kek. It's kind of funny. Isn't that like a Twitch thing? Kek instead of LOL. Here we can get it on our pastries. Hey Mace, how you doing? Reese, good to see you, by the way. What kind of snacks you got, man? NB Production, how you doing? Good to see you, buddy. Lanier, hello. I saw you the other day. I don't remember. I think it was on somebody else's live stream. Maybe we were both. It might have been like Astropub or Inforunners or something. No. Maybe I saw you on Reddit. Or was it Spectrum? I don't know. I saw your name somewhere though, and I was like, hey, I know them. Frenchie, good to see you. Hello. Welcome. Glad you're here, Phased Kitten. I love these. I love seeing regular names, you guys. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for coming through. Blue Wolf 07s. Christian, welcome. Yo. Guys, I'm pumped for this one. This is a good monthly report. I mean, okay, not to like hype it up like crazy. It's not like it's gonna change your life or anything, but it's got some really excited stuff that they talk about in here. Some interesting dots to connect. Overall, it's just a solid report. Not much art. I love reading about the art because that's where we learn about ships and stuff. But to be quite honest, when there's less art and more feature talk, I'm kind of shaken. Like, that's exactly what I want. Absolute fire. You are right. Star Jump, good to see you. How you doing, friend? Thanks for dropping by. If you don't know who Star Jump is, people, then you don't know what ship viewers are. Or is it fleet viewers? Which one is better, ship viewer or fleet viewer? Either way, Star Jump is a team of great people who have put together not only amazing cinematics for ships in the game, like full-on 3D rendered cinematics where they're doing space stuff. They got the vulture salvaging before CIG could. I actually used a little bit of that. of that footage in the latest video. Thanks for that. And they also created a fleet viewer, which is good fun to use. It's really cool, looks really good, and they've got bigger plans past that. Mrs. Tomato dropping into the chat with our new emotes. Folks, if you haven't seen it, we got new emotes on both YouTube and Twitch, and they're quite fun. It is a sneak peek of more to come. We found our artist, we like their style. We talked to them about setting up a little project to have a good number of emotes made that are in a newer style, and hope you guys enjoy them. You're doing well. Hope you're doing great. Thank you. Gonna send you a Discord message later. Have a question for you. Sure. Sounds good, man. Yep, we all know Star Jump. Okay, good to hear. Wiggy, hello. Shemp, hello, mate. Welcome. Get Tomato a custom ship. Don't know about the ship, but we've got some custom stuff coming. Oh God, we got a new idea for Christmas. So excited for it. I hope you guys enjoy it. Hyperloop, hello. Hello. Me and Mrs. Tomato have been brainstorming behind the scenes, and we've been getting some good storms. I'm talking, I'm actually not gonna name a storm because it's a little insensitive, but they're good storms, and they're big on the brains. I'm excited for this stuff. Grainar, thank you so much for the resub up on Twitch. Hello, friend. P-Bondo7. A Maimon. 600i as a cherry tomato. God, a red 600i. Tomato, a custom ship? You don't say. We need that tomato pin. I want a freaking ambulance terrapin so badly. I gotta turn this fan on. For anybody who is like here for the good stuff, for the news, for the monthly report, I promise we're gonna get to it soon. I like to give people just a couple minutes to get in here. They see the notification, maybe they see the video, they wanna get to the chair, maybe grab a couple snacks, you know. Not gonna lie, I'm just projecting. That's what I do when I see a YouTuber that I'm into get online, or a streamer or somebody. I go get the stuff, you know, get prepared. So just taking a little bit of time at the beginning of each one, and we'll get started here in about a minute. And I mean that literally. I'm gonna go turn the fan on, and then let's get going. Fan's on. Woo! It's warm in here. Jeez, I'm already, we're not even to the animation section, and I am sweating. It's just that good a day. A tomato or org branded medical terrapin. Yo, that would be dope. The GII tomato pin. Oh boy, that would be sick. They actually did that though. There was a Stardrop did an amazing. Let's see, that was Drake, right? That was the Drake video where you put different content creator in like groups, logos on the ships, and made custom ships for the people. That was sick. That was really cool of you. SE has a lot coming to it. For now, I want more fixes. Ace, we're gonna talk about more fixes in this monthly report. I'm happy for you. I am pumped for you, my friend, because they've got the fixes. Not the ones we want, of course, but they have some. There was this really cool, let's see, Terrapin Ambulance Star Citizen. There was this sick art somebody thought up right here on Reddit. This is beautiful. This is from Liwai. Yo, I want this so bad. Oh my gosh. Like this, because if you don't know, the Terrapin is like a tank. We call it the turtle because it's literally a turtle. It's got so much heavy armor all over it that you can actually see the armor plates fold out over the cockpit. If you've never seen it, when the Terrapin goes into a specific mode, the armor actually kind of comes out over the windows. Very thick. It's a thick boy. A fucking thickie. And I feel like it's just perfect for it to be that extreme search and rescue spaceship. You know, they start introducing crazy acidic planets or something, and they're like, you have to take the Terrapin down there, or else you're gonna get your armor eaten away. I love that, and I hope they make an ambulance out of it. But Ace, thank you so much for that super chat. I appreciate you. All right, I did say that we were gonna get started in a minute, and it's been more than a minute. So let's get going. Stardrop, I appreciate you. You're a homie. Thank you. Send me whatever you need to know on Discord, my friend. You didn't miss anything, Cotton. We're getting into it right now. Only sub $200 ship I'm never getting rid of. Is it sub 200? I thought it was like super overpriced. Okay. You tried to play, but the game was freezing every 30 seconds or so. Is it on an SSD by any chance? To be honest, there are plenty of reasons why the game might be freezing. I personally have bad performance problems with the game. And I would say this. Be aware that the game is... We've always operated on the assumption that the game was more CPU heavy up until now. And they're doing things to alleviate that. There have been some things that have gone on that make people question that. But overall, lower graphics settings will put more load on your CPU, as far as I understand. And that might make the game run even worse since the CPU is already chugging pretty hard for this game. So high settings might be better. None of this is going to come out for 6.57 years. Somebody do the math. What day is that? Brain fart. No problem. Love some good brain farts, as long as you claim it. Okay. Let's get started. AI content. I wish they started with AI tech, since the features kind of flow in that order. But since AI tech is ridiculously intimidating today, let's start with content, okay? So throughout October, the AI content team progressed with the vendor and patron behaviors, realizing the full flow of NPCs ordering, carrying, and consuming food and drink. Squadron 42. This gives them a sense of life and purpose, as they're always busy doing something. Now, okay, not just Squadron 42, actually. The vendor and patron thing is something they've been going back and forth on for a long time. I'm going to be really happy when we don't have to read about it anymore. Not going to lie. I will be overjoyed when vendors and patrons are just doing what they're supposed to do. But yeah, it's just making the verse more alive. Progress continued on the utility behavior, with AI characters opening crates, taking items out, and putting items in. This sounds super interestingly familiar when considering cargo refactor work that maybe we'll see in the next year or two. It was a surprisingly complex task, but the various elements are now working well together. Oh, so they're doing pretty well with that. I guess maybe they're going to be putting that in Squadron first. Who knows? Terrapin is a high detail scanner. It's a scout. It's a pathfinder. It's scanning for certain things in certain scenarios. Not necessarily like maybe the MSR, which is scanning for a different variety of things. Other tasks involved polishing the quartermaster behavior, making animation pose updates, setting up wild lines, overhauling documentation, and prototyping food eating. Quartermaster behavior. See, I was very, very close to being like, they straight up showed the quartermaster in Squadron 42 and he was behaving, but that was probably canned animations and a very scripted segment, you know, Squadron 42 stuff, whereas this is most likely more of a free-flowing dynamic kind of thing built into subsumption. We'll just have to see. May 7th, 2029, approximately. You know what? I'm curious. Mute your microphone if you don't want your Google to get triggered here. Hey, Google. Set a reminder for May 7th, 2029 to check the October 2022 monthly report. Ah, dang it. She cut me off. Why do you do this? Now she's like, I'm sorry. What do you mean? Stop listening to me. Okay. Rude. Let's try this again. Hey, Google. Set a reminder on May 29th, 2020. Nope, sorry, scratch that. This is why I don't ever do this, if you couldn't tell. Hey, Google, set a reminder for May 7th, 2029 to check the October 2022 progress report and see if the stuff came out. I'm going to read this in 6 years and be like, what the fuck? What was I talking about? All right, we'll set it for 8 a.m. Join me if you will. And, I have no idea what's going to happen. I do this all the time. I'll set like reminders. Sometimes on Reddit, I'll do remind me's and I'll get them 3 years later. And I'm like, why? I don't care. Past Space Tomato, you were stupid. I guarantee you, This reminder is going to pop up in 6.5 years. I'm going to read it and I'm going to be like, oh God, I'm so dumb. That stuff's still not in the game. It's not even a beta yet. We will find out. AI features section. Would I have Google that long? I mean, I'm still looking at Google Photos I saved back in 2011. I don't see why I wouldn't have it that long. I might care. You're right, I might care. And that much is worth it. Maybe I'll save this video and make sure I can come back to it. Google is forever. They hope to be. All right, last month, the AI animators continued to refine Vanduul execution animations to ensure they're perceived as strong and impactful from the first-person perspective. Wow. As better suited to be played on the spot if the attack occurs in a cramped space, are more believable to be deflectable by the player, and allow players to escape or attack once deflected. I've heard this. The attack occurs in a cramped space. I've heard this before. I'll never forget it. When I was looking at the amazing details of Fable 2, and Peter Molyneux was up on the stage saying, yeah, if you guys are fighting in a staircase and there's a handrail there and your player's trying to throw a wide attack, it's not gonna work because it's gonna get hit by the handrail. And then I went and played the game and it never freaking happened. Don't Peter Molyneux me, Star Citizen, because you've treaded very closely. This stuff sounds really cool. I wonder how important it is for the Vanduul executions. I mean, they minor Squadron 42 spoiler here for like the next 20 seconds. If you don't want Squadron 42 spoilers, please plug your ears. I'm about to say a couple small, very small spoilers here. The Vanduul aren't the first primary enemy in Star Citizen. If you watch the vertical slice, or if you've watched any of the marketing for Squadron, you kind of can see that. The Vanduul come in later. So these kinds of things make me wonder, how big a deal are they going to be that maybe they're not taking up that whole time, but they get all this attention. It's going to be cool. I look forward to it. I hope that fighting the Vanduul is kind of like, gosh, I'm trying to think of what a scary, aggressive enemy in a video game was. Honestly, I feel like the big daddies from BioShock kind of give me the biggest vibe. Like when you walk into a room and you know one is there, you're like, okay, I gotta be careful. But at the same time, it's not like the Vanduul have some grunts they can send after you, so I guess they have to be kind of a normal enemy. Maybe like the elites from Halo 1. Xenomorphs? Yeah. Okay, yeah, that's fair. The equivalent of Xenomorphs in terms of how much I want to freak out when I see one. Like, I'm really hoping that Squadron 42 is the kind of campaign where you're going through this space station, it's abandoned, it's creepy, it's kind of eerie, and you're ready to fight an enemy, but once you actually see one, you have to take a step back and plan out the whole thing. You know? Like, it's not just run and gun, take whoever out, clear out a room in 30 seconds. Like, I would love for it to be more strategic if they're building them up to be this strong. But that's enough about the Vanduul. It's enough. On the perception side of things, the AI team implemented functionality to allow them to rate and respond to disruptions, which are unexpected scenarios that can be resolved. For example, the lights of a room turning off or an enemy being disabled. Like, who turned off the lights? Haha! I'm a fancy AI, I turned it back on. Sorry, it's just Splinter Cell vibes, you know? I love that we now have an SC that is deriving features from SC. Two great games. Bring back Splinter Cell, Ubisoft, and don't ruin it. Thank you. But perception is actually a pretty big thing. We've been reading a lot about it lately. The amount of detail. Actually, I'll wait until we're at the end of AI to kind of talk about that. I want to go into a little bit about like how much detail they're building into these guys, but let's keep going. Players can also use distractions. So we've got disruptions and we've got distractions. Soon we're also going to have destructions, which are my favorite D word. No jokes. Actions that trigger audio stimuli, such as throwing an object, to cause NPCs to leave their positions to investigate. We saw this. I love these moments when we can say, hey, remember that time Remember that time when CIG showed us something and we were like, hey, CIG, you showed us something. Where is it? And then every once in a while, you're going through the monthly report and it's like, oh, here I am. We saw that. Whoop. Here we go.
And then ultimately, throwing an item to distract the god.
Look at this guy. Wow, that can just fell out of the sky. Huh. Instead of trying to figure out where it came from, I'm gonna go look at the can. Classic AI moves. But yeah, so they showed this at CitizenCon last year. And of course, everybody saw it happen and was like, oh, okay, that's not gonna be in game. But it's nice to see that it's actually getting developed at this point. So maybe we'll expect it in the game in like, I don't know, 3 years. We had to ensure that these events are propagated out to all of the agents within the appropriate area, that they are handled by the perception system, rated against the current threat level, and that the correct behaviors are implemented to resolve the disruptions. The resolution may involve agents going to investigate the source of the disruption, or alternatively, if too many disruptions have occurred, to increase their alertness level. This means that they may take their weapon out, say specific alertness level wild lines, or respond quicker to subsequent events. We also had to take into consideration that the immediate source of the disruption may not be what the NPC wants to investigate. Case in point, if you squirt water out onto the ground and the water hits the ground and makes a noise, the NPC is not going to be like, huh, must have just been some random water. They'll be like, oh, somebody shot that water. Like exactly what we were saying. Don't investigate the can, investigate the thrower. They thought of that. The agent may perceive that a light goes out, but they would want to investigate the light switch that controls the light, and ultimately, if they don't encounter the player, turn the light back on again. Simple. Splinter Cell. This has like so much nuance built into it. It's kind of wild that when you're playing a stealth game and you do these things and you're like, oh, the AI is dumb. Look how they fall for that. Like, why wouldn't you think of this and think of that? And then they actually kind of did that. I love the idea of I like the idea a lot of eventually, if you've, let's say, distracted them 3 times, instead of just going back and forth and being like, okay, it's nothing, eventually they're like, okay, something's up. I'm gonna get my gun out just in case now. And be a little bit more realistic with it. Also kind of goes in line with the whole NPCs can move through the room, check the different corners, call out to each other. Like the NPCs, this AI, I don't know if it's actually going to perform like how they're trying to develop it to perform, but it's insane a little bit. I'm not a doctor, so I don't actually know how good or bad AI should be, but this AI sounds very, very advanced compared to what I'm used to fighting. October also, you mean I'm used to fighting Star Citizen AI, so. You said Big Daddy wrong, you're supposed to drag out the Big Daddy. Big Daddy. You think AI is dumb until you watch people at work act the same way. That's fair. That's fair. The people at work remind me a lot of the Sims at times. You're still waiting for that sandworm they showed back in CitizenCon? My friend, let me give you a let me put all of your weights to rest. So you don't have to deal with that anymore. Bear with me. So the sandworm that's being talked about is from like 2016. And it's so wildly out of left field that they put it in there. I just wanted it to be cool. But it's one of those things that's just not coming. So looking at where we are right now, we should be over here by Terra. Here we go. Here's Stanton. Let me give you a look at how far you're gonna have to go to get to the sandworm. Granted, they might, you know, they could always do some retcon and make it so that you don't actually have to go to this system to see the thing. But this is the system where the sandworm is from. We got 11 or 7. So here's the route that you'd have to take. You'd have to go from Stanton to Pyro. Oh, man. Come on. There we go. Stanton to... Oh, my gosh. Stanton to Pyro. Pyro to Cano. Cano to Davian. Davian to Farron. Farron to Idris. Idris to Elysium. Elysium to Lear. Just to see the sandworm. It's absurd. Like, Lear is right here. And Stanton is all the way on the other side of known space. So, it's not going to happen. I mean, no time soon. It's already in the game, just waiting. Fair. It did look a lot like Daymar, but it was a little bit different. Daymar is just a single biome moon. The planet they showed had snow and lakes and forest and all that stuff. That was like some planet. They just made up a planet for that star system and said, here's sandworms. Because they knew we won't have to make this for years. You hope to see players discover new systems if they'll ever add that? I don't know. I don't know. Back to the topic at hand. October also saw AI implement rocket launcher and railgun handling for rocket launchers. NPCs have to consider if the shot will cause an explosive splash damage to friendly agents. I'm sure they will judge that accordingly every time. This check can be disabled using the friendly fire trait to enable more reckless enemies. There they are. For the railgun, they changed how the behavior works in cover. Now NPCs will start charging the weapon while in cover before emerging to fire. And I cannot tell you how many times I've seen an NPC shoot their gun into the cover right in front of them. How many times are we gonna see? Are we just gonna hear a railgun explode and see a body shooting off the right side of the battlefield? Like, AI with railguns, at least up until we get better performance in the service, is gonna be a funny thing to see. They were crazy to show those amazing things back in the day. I mean, they were crazy, but it made them plenty of money and hype. Kind of not a good look. I don't like it. Especially because the whole point of that demo was just to show off the planet tech, not even the AI or the gameplay or anything. But there it is, you know. Okay, where were we? Continuing with weapon usage. AI features implemented how NPCs pick up weapons and ammunition during combat. Enemies are under the same ammunition constraints as the players. Pretty crazy. Requiring them to conserve it and use other weapons when they run out. NPCs will evaluate the best course of action in this situation, including switching to their secondary weapon, picking up ammunition, or finding a new weapon altogether. When looking for ammunition, they could take it from boxes, out of loose weapons, or from stowed weapons on dead or incapacitated characters. When to implement this, weapons were set up to be set up as usables. So kind of like the way that they have a med pen set up, where you can like pick it up as an actual object instead of an item known as weapon or gun. This allows the AI to search for the best usable in the same way they look for a med pen for the that can provide ammo or a weapon. The team had to modify the usable system slightly, including adding support for usables that supply themselves, and ensuring that usable alignment positions are correctly aligned with gravity when the weapon or ammo falls. So first I want to ask, can I set up a scam here? You guys think I can hire NPCs? Let's say I hire 15 different NPCs and I tell them your assignment is to attack so-and-so target. I give them all weapons. I say, do what you will, but you pay for your own supplies. Of course, this is all stuff that you can just say naturally to an AI. And then I tell them to go blow up a Nova tank with their rifles, right? So they all just shooting, C-54, SMG, whatever. Wasting all of their ammo, running out, nowhere to get more. Can I then just roll up my truck with ammo and like a little sales kiosk, and they would just go there and get the ammo? Can I force them to buy my ammo to make money at a higher rate than what it costs to employ them? Does that seem like a reasonable scam? But it's pretty cool to hear that like AI are going to be doing the same things as players. They're going to be trying to find ammo. Let's see if I think I might have some video of them testing this actually. Let's see. I do hope that they show us a little bit more, because from what we've seen of this, we've only really seen them pick up ammo at crates. And what I would like to see is them picking up ammo from other dead people or other or guns on the ground. So here's one. This is an AI. Just really simple. Going down to a usable box, picking up some ammo, getting it for himself. It's basically just, hey, you're at 0, or you're at how many? Says it's at they set him to 1 out of 1 clip, and then he picks up another one and it goes to 2 with 2. I don't know. It's actually not super significant the way they did that. But they've demoed this a little bit with AI just reloading and picking up more stuff. And I have a couple other videos of it, but I don't see them here. So we'll forget about that. I'm assuming the AI has money. Well, I'm paying them, aren't I? You've watched some of the new pirate videos and noticed that only certain participants receive the crime stat. I think everyone in a party involved in interdiction or theft is aiding and abetting. Definitely if you're in the area. Yeah. CIG is going to require you to supply the squad. Probably. It'd be pretty easy to plug that hole. Just park your BMM outside the combat zone and sell to both sides. Now we're talking, Reese. On top of that, give medical support to both sides, but charge them money. And then whenever somebody accuses you of it, be like, hey, I'm a fucking medic. Don't challenge us. We're keeping everyone alive. Okay, where were we? For non-combat AI, my favorite. The team worked on functionality to support NPCs moving cargo from one location to another, including picking up crates, stacking them on a trolley, moving the trolley to a destination, and then taking them off the trolley and restacking them. A good life. Basically, they're training Amazon employees, which, you know, is good. Amazon burning through them. An existing prototype was also adapted with new tech to provide behaviors that can be used in varying locations to bring them to life. Maybe Amazon is running the simulation to train the AI. This actually is similar to the AI content stuff we saw, though. Training AI characters to open crates, take items out, and put them back in. Probably something that this will also get added to, moving cargo from one place to another, but also stuff we're going to need for new versions of the cargo refactor. Trauma team causes trauma. Right, you go there to save someone. The people around you aren't backing up. You shoot them, put a couple in their shoulders, and then you charge them money to keep them healthy. Depends on the level of Amazon employee, of course. They also refined their tools to generate better quality cover. This included making cover generation more robust to edge cases and supporting recognition of cover over a certain distance from identified cover edges. This allows cover to be generated in a greater range of areas. That's good. We like cover. We can get behind that. Finally, AI features took the first steps towards implementing Buddy AI that will support gameplay where the player is accompanied by one or more characters. To begin with, they made a rapid prototype featuring some of the functionality that might be required to generate conversations about what the final form of this would be and how it will fit into gameplay. Hold on. They made a prototype featuring functionality that might be required to generate conversations. Hold on. Wait. Okay. So they made the prototype. The prototype works a little bit, and it works enough for them to then say, okay, see, that sentence was weird to me for some reason. They made a prototype that basically spurred more thoughts towards what it was going to end up being in the future. But for some reason, I could not understand that sentence the first time I read it. You think Amazon is still a thing in 2952? You bet your fucking ass I do. Their name's Hurston. They kept going. They bought a planet. Oh my God, they bought a planet. They literally keep an entire planet running just so they have enough employees to keep shipping those boxes. So we might see the AI filling your ship with cargo with the trolley. Yes, absolutely. That's going to be a thing. The AI will eventually fill your ship for you. And that's kind of the first answer you give to all the people who are like, oh, physicalized cargo, that's kind of crazy. Wait, hold on. I don't want to load all of my cargo. I don't want to sit there for 10 minutes and walk boxes back and forth. And it's like, well, that's why they're building AI that can do that for you. The thing is, how much are you willing to pay for it? And how long are you willing to wait? The thing that I also like about this, though, is that there's no doubt that they're going to have different skill leveled cargo workers. So you'll have like your basic cargo worker who just started, and you'll have like your master worksman cargo loader. Somebody does it really, really slow, 30 minutes, versus somebody does it really fast, 12 minutes, 2,000 UEC per minute, 20,000 UEC per minute. Like the ability to choose what's most important to you, your time, your money, your crew, or your ship, is, I think, a really cool way to balance this game, and something they can keep diving further and further into when it comes to things like freight elevators and storage fees and docking fees and fuel costs and all that kind of stuff. You can start to be like, okay, you know what? I'm just not going to haul cargo. I'm just going to work for somebody who hauls cargo. So I get the experience, but I don't have to pay everyone. I see that as a win-win for the game, because there's going to be tons of people who don't just want to fly ships. Like, when I think of being a miner, and I don't mean like 12 years ago back in the day when I actually was, when I think of being like out in space mining asteroids, I never really picture myself being the one who's flying the ship or owns the ship. I always imagine I'm the one walking around on the crew deck, saying hi to people, getting to my job for my shift, working the mining laser, that kind of thing. I think there's a lot of people like that who'll be interested in things like cargo and, you know, if not, like you said, the AI. Not a perfect solution, and I'm sure it won't work perfectly, but it is there, and it is a possibility, and it's an exciting part of the conceptual gameplay. Similar to refining, where you pick the method you prefer. Yeah, exactly. I just want to be a worker drone, bro. I want to be in the hero simulation video game, and I don't want to be the hero, you know? I would like to be the busybody doing the stuff in the background. Maybe get the lucky pop shot and get all the XP for the boss kill, though. Just book the main deck crew, or you book the couple of rough-looking people sat out at the back of your dock at Loreville. Hey, that even introduces something better. They released lore earlier this year where they talked about somebody, and if you don't know, the lore pieces that they release actually sometimes give us little hints as what they're working on developing. Not to say that they're developing this, but they released a lore piece earlier this year where somebody was getting cargo taken care of. Was that earlier this year? That might have been last year. Somebody was getting cargo taken care of, like it was getting offloaded at Hurston, but when they got back to the ship, it was stolen because the person they hired was the first person to walk up to them, was super cheap, was just looking for a quick buck, and in the end, it turned out that they were trying to skim some of that cargo themselves. And obviously, I don't want that to happen. That would really suck if you just happened to get your cargo stolen because you trusted a spaceport. But, you know, leaning in that direction kind of would be fun. Losing money for making a bad decision is I think, a very worthwhile feature that video games should have. I want to get slapped, you know? If I'm putting my grenades in my chest upside down, or I'm not putting fuel in my ship. Or maybe I stacked my my maze on top of my quantum fuel and they made an explosion and took out half of Loreville, you know? It's a thing. It's a vibe. Smash that like button. Thank you, Nick. Okay. Moving on. AI tech is where it gets thick. Last month, the AI tech team made several usability improvements to the Apollo subsumption tool. This included updating the multi-graph with feature folders and functions to allow organizations from the outline view. How do you spell that word? Wow, I got it. This includes, For example, the designers are now able to delete and move graphs to different folders directly from the outline view panel. They can also drag a node connection into an empty section of the graph to open the drop-down menu that allows them to create a new task. Don't worry, I've got the visuals for this finally. All right, so here is what I think is the subsumption graph. That's what they called it, right? They called it the multi-graph. I'm thinking this is the multi-graph. If you are a game dev, feel free to correct me on this. I think this is the multigraph. And I think when you drag a node connection to create a new drop-down menu for a task, I believe that's what they're kind of showing here. These are all nodes being dragged out to create new tasks. You can see this is task 3, task 9, task 0. And basically you can take one of these little boxes here and drag out from the end of it to say, if this is all like an if this then that kind of flow, you can say attention target in area. If the target's in area, drag it out and be like equip weapon. If not in area, drag it out and be like go back to patrol or something like that. But like that's the idea behind subsumption from what I understand. And it looks like they've got folders and stuff here. Couldn't tell you much about that, but they did mention folders in monthly report. And this is old stuff. It's probably way updated since this, sorry, but this kind of gives you an idea of how the AI are supposed to flow between their actions and what they're talking about. What's up, info runners? Hey, X. Looking at subsumption stuff. Hey, Carixy. Had a great day, thank you. I hope I said that name right, and I hope you're having a good day too. It's a digraph representation of the internal logic of essentially a behavior tree. That's what it seems like, yeah. Every time you see their dev environment, you just think how much better off we'd be on Unreal Engine. Has server meshing built in, had 64 floating point built in, has cell streaming, has nodes built in, just Is that true? Are you willing to go on the record saying that? Because I try to find people who know a little bit more about comparing game engines, and if you are absolutely certain about that, that could be very useful to that discussion. I've been trying to find somebody who understands the difference between the different game engines that I can have on the podcast to talk a little bit more in depth about it. But from what I understand, Unreal Engine doesn't have the tools they would need for the actual planets. Yeah, like the spherical maps that make the planets. Most of the other maps that are created from other engines are made with 2D assets. I also think that they probably don't want to pay Epic for it, which is why they got the deal they got from Crytek. Cole Lee, thank you so much for becoming a supporter. I appreciate you. I hope you enjoy all that we have to offer. We've got some chat rooms for you to jump in with, use a couple emotes, and of course we got exclusive videos coming out every month for you on the main channel, if you're into that. CIG devs have stated several times at this point that UE5 doesn't have all the features they currently use in Star Engine. Oh, I bet. Yeah, no two engines are the same. But if Unreal Engine somehow has server meshing working in the way that they're doing it, that's a pretty big deal. And I feel like that would be huge news. A big scoop, though. Basically modified it to crazy extent with Lumberyard. Right. Now that specific point I'm unsure on, as no one else is attempting to make the planets like this. Yeah, and I think there are a couple things that they have that they do like that. But in terms of, in terms of like server meshing and I don't know what cell streaming is. That'd be crazy. Did they have those things though back when they started? That's the big question. Because they started building all this stuff up 7-ish years ago, 7 or 8 years ago. So the question then would be, did Unreal Engine have that stuff available at that time? And what kind of agreement would you have to get in with Epic to make that work? Where's the snacks, Drazen? That's you. That's on you, bruh. You should be bringing the snacks. You've heard nothing about Unreal Persistence, but they may be working on something behind closed doors. Maybe, yeah. You think object containers and the streaming tech for those containers is pretty specific to Star Engine as well. And as we all know, that's a pretty major thing for SC. When did they swap to Lumberyard? Well, the way I understand it, CryEngine became Lumberyard when Amazon bought their license to CryEngine. And so it was basically the same thing. And since Star Citizen, since CIG was using CryEngine at the time that it swapped to Lumberyard, technically their version was also Lumberyard. So like it was CryEngine, but it was also Lumberyard, and now they've edited it enough to the point where it's now StarEngine rather than Lumberyard. So it used to be when you would launch the game, I'll bring it up real quick and see if it still pops up. I think when it pops up now, it might say either StarEngine or nothing at all. But it used to be the case where when you launch the game, it would actually say Lumberyard on there. I don't know if it still does. Let's see. Unreal Engine 3 was back then. So yeah, it doesn't. Just easy anti-cheat initialize. Stand by. I'm gonna beat you. I'm gonna beat you today. Got it. Ah! Okay. All right. Here we go. Sorry about that. Yeah, so on here, it would normally say Lumberyard. So it looks like they took it off. They don't have to state that anymore. But it did at some point. Okay, get rid of this, please. I don't want this on my screen. Thank you. Yep, Lumberyard had the AWS support server natively, so that's why CIG chose it. I see. Yeah, they got a lot of Crytek devs back in 2014 and 2015 when Crytek was going through financial troubles. That's why the whole Planet Tech thing happened. There was a huge explosion of content after that, and that's when they really refactored the game. That's why you're curious on the time frame, because UE4 was the first one to natively drop server meshing in. Thought it was a bit later in the engine's life cycle, but still well before CIG has theirs running. That's interesting. I got to look more into that. I'm going to save a search for that, because I feel like I've been trying to find server meshing stuff, and the only engine that I've really seen doing a lot with that was what's it called? Jeez, what's the one called that Scavengers uses? Scavengers game. Sorry, I'm getting a little sidetracked here. There he is. Uses engine. Starts with an S. Spatial OS. That was the only one that I'd really ever seen actually doing server meshing stuff. So Unreal Engine doing it is kind of sounds like a big deal. And I thought that was like their thing. I thought that was the whole reason they were successful. They're gonna be screwed if Unreal's doing it in big ways. A normal game engine doesn't even have 64-bit precision since it doesn't need it. OCS and SOCS comes in, and OFC server meshing and PES when it's done. Right. UE5 is bloody great, but CIG would have to start development over if they switch to it. Yeah, that would be crazy. No. I would never want them to switch engines, even if Unreal Engine is doing server meshing in a way that runs well. Yeah, no way. Oh, whoa. Hold on, look at what I just found. Okay, we're going down the rabbit hole here a little bit. I actually just found mention of Star Citizen in the wild of this. There it is. So somebody was talking about using Spatial OS in Unreal. That's a little bit too much, but somebody here mentioned, yeah, a couple of devs have talked about their approach, most notably Elder Scrolls Online, which I think we might have a dev in chat working on that, and Star Citizen. ESO calls it Mega Server, Star Citizen calls it server meshing. Don't get confused if you read something about Guild Wars 2 and mega servers. Definitely a line of conversation, but I'm going to have to look more into that. That's a big deal. EVE Online uses a lot of server meshing and has for quite some time. I see. Supercluster has the ability to control which nodes have authority over which star systems. What engine does EVE use? Some of the tech used on UE5 could be ported over to StarEngine, so that seems like a better choice to me. You mean to like to copy that into their own engine in their own way. Either way, I'm sorry, I've gotten way off track. Let's get back to the actual monthly report. We were talking about like subsumption. Okay, this was all subsumption talk. For perception, the team worked on supporting audio noise level and audio masking. Audio noise level ensures that audio stimuli that don't surpass the background noise won't be heard by listeners. New tools were implemented to allow the designers to configure the noise levels in an area and type of sounds that should be considered normal in that area. I like that a lot. I like that you can be at like, well, I guess they say it here. Audio masking makes sure that the particular audio stimuli is not perceived as anomalous. For example, explosions in a field where fireworks are tested. This allows the player to use the environment as audio cover when performing actions. For example, firing weapons near a shooting range as to not alert NPCs. More really freaking detailed AI work. Pretty gnarly. The team implemented light extensions to action areas. These enable the designers to link light groups to an area and automatically calculate whether the state of the environment should be light or dark. This impacts the time NPCs require to perceive a target, making it easier to stay hidden in darker areas. Also, more super crazy detail. I look at this though, and I'm kind of thinking to myself, does that mean that AI will be confused if a normally lit area is dark? Or does that mean that AI will see a dark? I'm guessing they mean that when the AI looks and see an area that is not as it normally should be, they'll have a harder time detecting you. Not entirely. I might be reading that wrong though. Depa, thanks for the freaking super chat. As always, coming in here, dropping the love. Appreciate you, friend. Anyone demanding CIG move to UE has no clue what they're talking about. Speaking as a dev with 10 years in the industry, engine changes are not even remotely easy. As CIG has so gladly proven to us. They don't even have to change it. They're just trying to make it. And it is hard. AI Tech also extended the system. By the way, good to know that you're game dev. I've talked a little bit about it in the past. Mondays, first Monday is usually the monthly report. One of the Mondays of the month, we're also going to start another new show separate from the other podcasts that I do. If you do like podcasts though, check them out. They're one's on the main channel, one's on the second channel. Both will be on the main channel soon. But this is going to be a show where I allow the people who are more active in our Discord server, who are just part of the community, to come onto the stream and have a discussion about the stuff that we're talking about. Something that I couldn't do with the podcast because that would have been hard to like choose people every week out of a lot of people trying to be on there. But also I think a good way to be able to not just talk to content creators, but get better, like get a lot more kind of feedback from all of you. So, you know, if you are a part of the community and you're active in the Discord and these are things you like to talk about, hope to hear from you when we start doing that. We'll have more details about that soon enough. You can throw the LinkedIn and resume. I believe it. I believe it. I can usually, you can tell. I mean, I can't tell. I don't even know why I said that. I definitely can't tell. But, benefit of the doubt. Anyways, where were we? AI Tech also extended the system that allows the visibility of large objects such as vehicles. Large vehicles can be seen at further distances, but we need to avoid approaches that cost too much on the CPU, such as doing raycasts for very long distances. To prevent this, we can now describe the visibility of a large object depending on the degree of visual angle, basically at which distance it has specific size from observer's perspective. And this was also something, I don't know if I'm going to be able to find this very quickly because this is very much, is this even the right? No, this isn't even the right one. I don't know if I can find this specifically in here. Let's see if I could just scroll through and see it real quick. No, I think it's back here somewhere. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna find. Oh, there it is. Wow, good timing. Where'd it go? There we go. So this is something that they were showing when they were talking about draw distances in servers, and they were saying something that is less than 5 pixels represented on your screen will not show up to you visibly, right? As a way to define the draw distance. But it sounds kind of similar to what they're talking about with this other system, in that AI are also going to kind of act the same way, which is like, why, makes sense. AI sees and they can't see it, so it's not there. And they're basically saying that if it doesn't show up in that kind of distance profile based on what they call the degree of visual angle, AI won't perceive it, which is good because AI don't see ships, and that's kind of boring. I'd like to be able to fight AI when I'm in a ship. You loved playing Eve, but comparing Eve to SC isn't the best. Eve doesn't have players and turrets, co-pilot seats, and dancing in the kitchen at the same time. It's the dancing, honestly, that sells it for me. The dancing and the sleeping. Curling up in the cargo bay and just like sleeping on the the sleeping position is so weird. You missed the podcast with Winters because your sub ran out the day before. It's all good. It's all good, my friend. We've got it on the YouTube channel. Don't fret. And we continue. This also allows the team to refer the discovery phase of which objects are within range of larger objects. This utilizes one query, which then allows each individual to correctly verify the occlusion of the object. Verifying occlusion. The parameters of the visual field of view were also extended to be overridable based on the AI state. For example, allowing pilots to see a greater distance and visually target on-foot vehicles, or character on-foot vehicles. Tomato, you idiot. The team continued extending navigation links to support 2 main functionalities. Firstly, they enabled usable routing to function with entity links to allow door panels to be correctly used by NPCs. NPCs can open doors. Pack it up. We're going home. NPCs can open doors. We'll launch Star Citizen tomorrow. Get Squadron 42 out the door. We're good. We're set. Well, Shoei, thank you so much for the Prime sub. Appreciate you. I hope to see you at the next podcast. Seriously, though, it's kind of like this, honest, is almost... I don't care for this. I think this is important. This doesn't bother me that they're getting the ability for AI to open doors, because we know how ridiculous it is to work doors and elevators and stuff, and like they've had trouble with it, and AI's never been good. But it does have... I think this has the energy to get people riled up like the bed sheets thing did. If they made this sound more simple, firstly, they've enabled the ability for NPCs to open doors. Like, people would have a freaking show with that. It'll allow them to understand which panel they should use to trigger the right interaction. And if you think about it, like, it's more complicated. It sounds more complicated than just they know how to use doors. But you could simplify it to that. Secondly, they exposed a way to define the cost of nav links based on specific conditions, such as increasing the cost for vaulting when a character isn't alerted or walking. Those costs allow the system to describe how preferable actions are from the NPC's perspective. For example, a character wouldn't vault, which is a physically demanding action if not needed. I hope they make it so that we have like lazy AI. Like, hey, I need you to take the box onto the cargo deck. And the AI is like, oh, dude, that means I have to use the stairs. Hey, Pixin, how you doing? Bed sheets thing? Oh, yeah, that was They just, like they mentioned in the monthly report that they were working on the ability for cloth tech to react to like players and characters getting out of it. But the way they said it made it sound like they were blowing up the fact that like bed sheets can now be interacted with. And that was a very easy headline, I think, for people. Because to be honest, just like I said for this thing, if people actually read these monthly reports and they were bothered by things like bed sheets being able to be interacted with, they'd be pissed at these reports because they say a lot of very ambiguous and like not important features. Hope NPCs can do turret gunners for us? Absolutely. Harping? Did I say? Oh no, you're having another conversation. Listened here on my way back from uni. Hey, I hope you had a good day at school, man. Hope it was fun. Bedsheet thing is a deeper problem to do with tons of stuff on the reports that never make it to the game. I'm pretty sure that was a Squadron 42 thing anyways. But yeah, there's plenty of stuff that comes up in the reports that doesn't get added to the game. But at the same time, that doesn't necessarily make it a problem, I don't think. For instance, the stuff that we saw that they were doing with AI in CitizenCon was stuff that they were talking about in the monthly reports years or months prior. And I was sitting there like reading the stuff in the monthly reports like, this is a lot of good AI stuff, but is it actually happening? And CitizenCon kind of showed me that they're doing it. They just don't put it in the PU for one reason or another. But you might be talking about something else. Croncy, dropping the raid. My dog. Welcome, dude. How you doing? Thank you for the raid. My friend, we're just doing some monthly report shenanigans. Complaining and retaining, as I like to call it. I don't like to call it, I just made that up, but I'm gonna call it that from now on. Maybe I'll put that in the thumbnail. You recently stumbled upon the channel, really like the content. I know that the performance in game is still in development, but do you know when we might be getting an FPS boost? My friend, possibly. Read, not guaranteed, but possibly in whenever 3.18 comes out. I almost said December. Whenever 3.18 comes out, we might be seeing a FPS boost because of Gen 12 optimizations, but it depends on how it goes. Getting it implemented depends on what you got in your computer and what is bottlenecking you right now. So it's hard to know, but it's possible we'll see an FPS boost in the next couple months. You mean it's a problem if it's the land of make-believe? I see. Does a negative boost count? Can you count that a boost? What's the opposite of a boost? A drag? This was added to the game. The fabric deformation stuff's in game now. If you head off to Orison and look at the banners, those use that stuff. Maybe. I mean, I know that's cloth tech stuff, but I'm willing to bet that like the actual act of interacting with bed sheets will result in us and interacting with bed sheets, right? When we get into bed to log out. Work could be prototyped and inevitably never used. That's fair. A break? Ah, that's so boring. I always think of fine. Language is silly. Work began to allow NPCs to drive ground vehicles. We'd love to see it. The team are, look at how many like normal basic things the NPCs are getting from the tech team at the moment. The team are currently verifying the setup of selection of vehicles to use as a reference. They also set up the code to switch to the right nav mesh when driving a vehicle and select the right path follower. They better start with the mule and the PTV because I want to see them driving vehicles to load my ships in the hangars. Finally, for AI tech, the team worked on the locomotion refactor, which involved integrating current work into different streams to begin stabilizing bugs. They also experimented with foot locking during MoveNet and are currently verifying how to use this functionality on various aspects of locomotion, such as during sharp turns. They also implemented a first frame adjustment for the seamless transition code to improve the entering of usables. This will also play a specific animation at a specific location with a specific pose. Not gonna lie, the AI, as far as like the world of make-believe comment goes, Eagle, the AI section is definitely the one that is least visible. This is the one that sees the most work that I think we see the least of in the game. And I've always attributed that to the AI just being terrible in terms of their performance. And so CIG just doesn't bother updating them because the stuff that they update them with isn't gonna run that well anyways. But who knows? That's really too specific. Too many specifics. On to the animation team. They've got some fun stuff to say. Last month, the animation team began discussing bringing creatures into the PU. I bet you we can find a couple shots of those creatures. Okay, not that. Pyro crab? Okay, not that. Creature? Okay, none of that. Fauna? Holy crap. Like what? Where? I could have sworn I had a bunch of videos of these aliens. I think I just have concept art. Sorry, folks. Let's see if I can search for that. Trying to get you some eyes on the first. Here we go. This is one of the first creatures we'll probably see. It's called the Boreal Stalker. It's native to, not native actually. We brought it to Microtech, but that's where you would find it. And then the other one is going to be, I'm going to have to search for this one manually. Frustrations abound. And here's the other one. It's called Penguin. It's funny. No, this is it. These are the two of them. These are the first two that we're expecting, I believe. I'm pretty sure this is where they're going to start. First is the Whiplash Crab, or the Whip Crab, something like that, which is in Pyro. And then the other is the Boreal Stalker, which is in Stanton. And then there's Pico. There's also space whales, which are called Stormfront is that girl from The Boys. Storm walls. The space whales are known as storm walls, and they're awesome. Let me see if I can find a version of that. And then there's also space cows. I don't remember what those are called, but they're weird. So this is a storm wall. These are space whales. They're going to be living on Crusader. And there'll actually be locations that can be landed on, and you'll probably be able to like collect harvestables from them or something like that. So they've got a whole concept built out for creatures and stuff, and they've talked a little bit about it in terms of art and programming. I imagine creatures weren't even a thought up until, or not even a thought outside of the art section until they got the planetary navigation working this past summer. So now that that's working, and maybe AI will be able to function better, give a year or two with server meshing coming in, it seems now they're maybe starting to think about creatures that can function using those two systems, but we'll see. I don't think they're anywhere near. I think we can basically forget about them, but maybe we'll start getting more updates on them. The facial team progressed with AI worker animations, including the bartender. The bartender. They also worked on various performances for IAE and the gameplay for delivering a person from one location to another. That's important. They always kind of slide these little statements in here that point towards entirely new career options. Like, this is personnel transportation. We've seen it be talked about a couple times here and there. Animation's working on it now too. Oh yeah, there's also the poop bugs. You're right. The Banta. Banta? I don't know if it's actually Banta, I forget. Blue milk or bust. You've been trying to join stream for the past 40 minutes. MGL, come on now. Is it a scam? Are they keeping you out? Bro, don't let them hold you down. Your issue with adding the stalker is tier 0. Will it drop anything? And if it does, will it be usable or another item you just sell for money? Oh, I doubt. Honestly, I don't think it's going to drop anything. I think it's just something to go see and maybe fight. Maybe. The quasi-grazer. Thank you, Nick. Ranta. That's it. Y'all are helping me with these animals. Yeah, I don't think T0 is going to be anything special. Just proof that it works. Okay, art on the characters team. Last month, the character art team delivered armor variants for Security Post Korea. Production started on Frontier workwear outfits and undersuits, followed by the character concept art team 2. We do this every month. We do this every month. But I'm gonna always do it because somebody's always coming in for the first time and probably would like to see some interesting stuff. Let me show you what the Pyro outfits they're talking about looks like, because they're pretty cool compared to Stanson stuff. They're very interesting. And I'm not seeing it anywhere. Good. I'm not as organized as I like to think I am. Probably all the way at the bottom of the folder. No, I actually don't know what to search for this. That's not good. I'm the one naming them. I should be able to find this no problem. Let me try this one more time. Scroll all the way down and roll back up. No, I'm not seeing it. Sorry, guys. Interesting too, because I usually do show this in the monthly reports, and then for some reason I can't find it this time. Ah, there we are. Scroll along enough and there it is. So here's some of the concepts for this. This is all pyro type wear. Obviously it's a little bit, I don't even know what to call this, like slight steampunk vibes, just because there's a little gas mask down there. But they're cool. They've got a certain feel to them. It feels a little bit more, I don't know, informal from Stanton clothes. There's actually not that much Stanton clothes that are meant for like being out and about. And maybe that's really the difference between pyro clothes and Stanton clothes. These are all clearly clothes that you're wearing outside. You're wearing in the wilderness and you are doing work in, as opposed to in Stanton where like when you're doing work or going out in the wilderness, you have the chance to get into the city, to calm down, to get your stuff together, to go put on some proper wear. And when you want to just chill in the city and hang out and do normal stuff, we've also got plenty of clothes like that they've already been kind of concepting out and selling in Stanton. So it shows that sort of lore difference between the two systems yet again, which is cool. But as of right now, clothes don't really have any functional use other than looking nice. All right, art on the ships team actually did nothing except for Argo SRV, which is, you know, crazy to consider. It is ship art, and we know there are ships being worked on, but we'll give them that. We'll give them that because ultimately we get a really long features section, and I'm down for that. We'll skip community. We'll go to engine. Geez. You guys ready for your trademark Space Tomato engine update? Best of luck. Been watching every day. Thanks for the content, Sunbury. Thank you for watching. Every day is a lot. I appreciate that. I could not listen to my own voice every day. Get it? In October, here we go. The physics team worked on various improvements, including brush physicalization, which was put into queues of 32 entries each and forced to be processed in parallel. Parallel does mean time saving, so we know that. Spawn batch finalization was reworked to wait for all brush archetypes and their material clones to be fully physicalized before finalizing the spawned entities, and the root spawn batch can now be queried from outside of the entity system. This sounds like stuff that would have to do with things like server meshing, but a physics event was added for cluster breakage along with an entity event that detaches the corresponding compounded entity. I feel like they need to put more words into that sentence for me to fully get it. Additionally, various optimizations were made to improve low-level data access and reduce contention. Okay, I don't like contention, so that's positive. Also, the physics environment is no longer woken during the bulk destruction of brushes unless they have a collider. You gotta have that collider. Gotta. You can do all without a collider. Lastly, severe stalls during entity deletion as well as the network aspects of breakability were fixed. All right, so can't tell you much about that paragraph, so let's move on to the one that kind of has stuff I get. On the renderer, more progress was made on the Gen 12 transition. So my friend asking about the FPS boosts, this is where we start to hear about that. A lot of work was done on particles. Among other things, the Light Atlas stage was rewritten to make use of the material permutation cache, and a lot of code in the GPU particle system was refactored and cleaned up. The particle submission code and its PSO management were rewritten as well. Furthermore, light lists are now managed per scene pass, which will eventually help simplify the tiled shading stage. Additionally, opaque sun shadows for gas clouds, image ghosting, various game post effects like water droplets, flashbangs, ocular migraines, and blood vision, Love those ocular migraines. The projectile manager, render to texture support functionality, and render target debug viz were ported to Gen 12. Basically, like a lot of things were ported to Gen 12 is what I'm getting there. Breakability is going to be important for sure. Looks like they are getting close to being complete on the current sprint. What is breakability? Do they mean breakability like like how a normal pleb like me would understand breakability, or is this code talk? Support for transient scene render passes was completed, and collision checks for resource sets were added. Offline cube maps now use their own pipeline to allow for different feature sets. Lastly, lots of optimizations and cleanups were made all around. Couldn't they have just said that? Let me rewrite this whole paragraph for you. On the renderer, more progress was made on the Gen 12 transition, and lots of optimizations and cleanups were made all around. Because I feel like all of this is just very, very good optimizing. But again, who am I? Oh, when they say ocular migraines, they mean like for the players. They're specifically talking about the ocular migraines and blood vision that you might get from playing Star Citizen at 5 frames per second for 2 hours and then 30K'ing. It's common, and it is something that CIG has to worry about. In fact, for those of you who have heard about like lifetime insurance and insurance when you buy a game package, that's actually supposed to add on to your real life health insurance, because this game will break you. Jokes. Brush is just an engine term for a shape or object. That's solid. That makes sense. Okay. Regarding atmosphere and volumetric clouds, improvements were made to the Gen 12 code by adopting the transient passes made available in September. Furthermore, a preview mode was implemented to help lighting artists set up planet atmospheres. I wonder if they mean any more significantly than they already are. So planet atmospheres are beautiful. On the core engine, the team made additional improvements to entity lifetime management. This involved adding code to group objects for lifetime management and how entity deletion is handled on stream out. All legacy entity lifetime code was removed. The entity allocator was changed to be page-based. In-engine file mapping support was completed. There's a period there. Initial steps were done to run all game code through include what you see to remove unnecessary header dependencies, which should ultimately lead to faster incremental compile times. Love compiling. Lastly, in case of failed memory allocations, it's now possible to identify relevant code owners and list them in bug reports automatically to speed up bug processing. The remainder of the time was spent supporting Alpha 3.18. Hey, Santantica. Yeah, that's a hard word. Still waiting for deletion of medical gowns as soon as they hit the ground. Now that just sounds like a waste of materials. Reuse those medical gowns. Create something special with them. Okay, now we're done with engine. We can get on to features, which is much more exciting. And I can actually kind of understand. The engineering team began the month with quality... Wait a second. Oh, okay, this is the features animation team. Engineering team. They added additional post-game score awards and fixed the bleed-out damage type. Cool. This is Arena Commander features, by the way, specifically for people who are trying to dogfight with spaceships in the kind of private area. The team finished its integration of Alpha 3.18's deliverables into game dev, with some minor items pending that will be addressed later. They fixed an issue with the test runner in cases where the actor died and added Jericho Station. Oh, sorry. Let me try that again. They fixed an issue with the test runner in cases where the actor died, and added Jericho Station and 4 race maps to the backend, which design also submitted levels and records for. Support continued for radar and scanning for Squadron 42, while part of the team supported an issue with vehicles not exploding upon death. A new concept was made to the dual mode pregame, as the team shifts Arena Commander's focus to being the more competitive primary ranked mode. The new pregame allows players to select from multiple ships outside of their selected one from the front end, as well to see what their opponent has picked. When I read that, I think what they're saying is you can have your ship selected, but also see other ships that you can select. No, it's a kind of confusing way to say it. Guess it was overdue. It has been 10 years. 10 years for... You know what? Never mind. We need immersive space gown butt. Oh yeah, you gotta get like the flaps opening and closing against the butt. Definitely. A new concept, I read that already. Feature additions and bug fixing continued for the new Arena Commander 1.5 front end, including adding video backgrounds per game mode. The team also explored how to improve the first deliverables of the new front end, including changes to the layout and how to make the scene feel more simulated. More like a simulation. Design finished their initial pass on 5 new racetracks: Snake Pit, Icebreaker, Rotari Station, Dunlow Derby, and Lorville Gateways. A new dogfighting map, Jericho Station, was successfully playtested and is planned for an upcoming patch. Interestingly, all of the late race locations are in-game locations, and it kind of continues to build on that idea that when we jump into Arena Commander, we're jumping into a video game inside of Star Citizen. Like, that is the game, that is the video game that people who are living and breathing in the Star Citizen world play. So I think that's going to end up acting as the way for people to get to play combat heavy parts of Star Citizen without actually having to go in and die. You can just hop in your sim pod and like blow up spaceships and get into death matches and stuff. All right, features and characters and weapons. Last month, the features team improved various existing features, including the ability to vault or mantle over a ledge, which can now be triggered mid-jump or in a fall. This adds further options for the level designers when constructing on-foot traversal puzzles. Those of you who watched CitizenCon know about this. Those of you who didn't, let me see if I have something here. I don't think I saved that. No, I didn't. This is one of those things that was actually kind of delayed because of the whole shift of focus from Star Citizen to Squadron for a lot of developers. Mantling and vaulting was one of those things that got kind of pushed back, I think, and is now coming back into the game with a higher level of polish after they've worked it for Squadron 42 more. And I'm going to see if I can find the video where they did show that. I just have to go through my recordings, which is not the most ideal way to do this. Let's see if this is it. Yeah, this is it. So here we go. So they've got like ladders. That is not in the game yet. Whoops. So like grabbing onto a ledge mid jump, you know, things that you think of as basic, but not things you could do in Star Citizen before. These are things that they've now gotten working in the game engine, that we'll be able to start doing. And again, like, it's not anything huge, but it definitely having more freedom of movement, I think, is going to make the game feel better to play. Right now, you feel very stiff. Thanks for the sub. Players can also now look up and down while moving on a ladder to help them see what they're doing. They can stop, and if they stop, they can look around 360 degrees too. I'm sorry, I cut that off before we got to see that part. Shame. Shame. So here you can see moving around, turning while you're on the ladder. Stuff we couldn't do before. Simple, but it helps. Jumping from a ladder to grab onto another ledge. This is all just like predecessors to platforming minigames and stuff like that. The game then picks the frame from the asset that matches the player's yaw relative to the ladder. This then becomes the base idle on top of which the team can build other actions. For example, being able to jump away from the ladder in the facing direction. I'm wondering if that's going to also include using usables, climb a ladder, be able to mine something next to you or repair something next to you if need be. The ability to move all items from one inventory to another is now in the final internal test sweep. What's up? Move all in the inventory. Hello. Very, very nice. Super happy about this. And I know plenty of other people are. A move all in the inventory is like, yes, thank you. Should have had it before, but thank you. I'm not gonna say should have had it before. I love, you know, I don't know what they're doing. I try not to get on the case of people who I just simply can't know what's actually going on behind the scenes for them. I do it a lot, but I try not to, because I have no idea how the process actually went of getting that to work. A number of features the team have been working on were on show during CitizenCon, and we really appreciate all your positive feedback. We saw that. Thank you for that. All right, features gameplay. In the US, work continued on the initial implementation of the cargo refactor and new commodity kiosk UI for Alpha 3.18. This will affect buying, selling, and moving around single SCU resource cargo containers with the tractor beam after purchase and outside of green zones. Gameplay features also continue to support the buying and selling of FPS refillable RMC containers and the containers created by the Vulture and in Reclaimer. So we got the updated commodity kiosk here, which I know for a fact I've got footage of because that was in Inside Star Citizen. Oh no, have I not saved that Inside Star? Oh, I have. Here we go. So the new inventory system, as you can see, it's showing supply and demand. It's showing, it's so much better. There's so much more information on the screen than there used to be. It's still not all there, but like much better, clear readouts of how much cargo you're using, readouts of what the station you're at or the place you're at is selling or buying for. You can actually see the ship that you're sending it to. Granted, this is placeholder. In the future, this is still the first version of the cargo refactor. In the future, they will have an actual visual representation of your cargo grid in the middle, so you could see specifically how things are being stored. But for now, you can at least still see the ship that you have selected. And overall, this feels a lot better. It's nowhere near what we're going to need, but it definitely feels better. Temporary. I imagine these kiosks will be, well, I hope these kiosks will be updated in the next year, but we'll see. Can you get a link to what I'm reading? Sure. Boxes displayed as circles. Hey, they're barrels, okay? All right? Those are the barrels. You're allowed to comment towards the overall project. It's never one person's fault, of course. But ultimately, we've been waiting 10 years and at least another 5 to go. We are allowed to at least joke about things. Hey, you can't tell me. You're not allowed to tell me what I'm allowed to do. All right, buddy? No, yeah, you make some jokes, but you never know. And I also just, like, I'm imagining that whoever was working on the inventory system probably had a ridiculous amount of kind of crunch to get in the initial one, and then over the last year has like gotten a little bit of time to work on it, but I bet is like very annoyed that they haven't been able to get the inventory system to where they know it should be. So I try to, you know, if anything, give their bosses the crap. Give the managers the crap. That's why they're managers. That's what they're there for. Sorry, managers. How does it feel better in any shape or form? It doesn't change a thing as usual. Are you serious? All right, I'll pull up the old one. I hate when you make me do this. All right, so this is what we were buying before. And there's, oh, dang it. And there's no Just do this. There we go. There's like almost no information what's going on at the station besides the buy price. Like, at least here we have some context as to what's like, is this station actually going to be looking for this stuff, or is it just going along? Now, I don't know if this stuff is functional. I'll admit that much. It probably isn't functional, but the amount of information that we can get from here feels like it's much more than what we could get before. Maybe not much more, but it feels like it's more. I have a better representation of how much of the cargo I'm actually using, because in here, I guess it's just the number layout. I like graphics. That's probably why. I feel like this has a much better graphical layout of information than just words and numbers. So maybe that's why it feels a lot better to me. But overall, I think this has way better readability and display than this one does, where there's not really any sort of flow. Like having your destination here and then having your destination put here, but then also over here, and then having the available items in the middle instead of having like one on one side and then one on the other. That's the layout I really like a lot more. But I see what you mean. It's not that much different. I just like the graphics. Will they be fully physicalizing cargo in stations too? You mean like in the cargo decks? Link to look at the other star systems would be here. I don't know where that was supposed to go. YouTube. Here you go. UI is better, but won't fix trading. Yeah, definitely won't fix trading. That's what I'm really struggling with this here, is why they're showing us demand and supply if it doesn't work. And in my mind, I'm thinking to myself, don't assume it's going to work. Assume that they're just putting supply and demand on there, but then also, I just want to know what's going on with quantum, to be honest. Feel like the middle space is a waste. Yeah, so I was saying before, the middle space is a placeholder. What's going to actually be here is a graphical layout of your cargo deck. So you'll be able to see what's in and not in your ship. Right now, they just have nothing to put there. Maybe a wireframe would be nice. Yeah. The ship is a lot of real estate for something that's the same every time you open it. Yeah, this central area with the ship is not going to be the ship. This is placeholder. This isn't final. Should we not assume it's not going to work as much as we're assuming it is going to work? I always assume things won't work first. I assume they'll be in the game, but I don't know. I just don't trust it because they haven't said anything about supply and demand. I think if that was something that was actually coming, we would have heard about it from Tony Z. You're rather shocked that persistent hangars and freight elevators are not going to launch together with the cargo refactor? Did you think that they were going to have the persistent hangars ready? What has Tony been doing for months? They mentioned him in CitizenCon. Like one time. Think it already works, there's just no player side way of tracking it. Well, the markets change, so yeah, I guess you're right. Supply and demand does work. I was having a conversation about this with Space Coder, and we're gonna do a podcast episode about it. He was telling me something about how the trading works and the supply and demand and stuff. But you might have a good point. It might actually already function, the supply and demand. Tony's been doing math. Yeah, persistent hangars were removed a while ago. Oi! Persistent hangars were pushed back, I'm assuming, until the groundwork for PES is solidified, yeah. Thought we would need those hangars to do the actual loading, but maybe I'm not thinking of it correctly. We will. We're not going to actually be loading this stuff. So this is going to be loading into the game the same way it always has. The cargo refactor won't be changing how we do the cargo. Just the way the cargo works in the game. Not numbers. Numbers. All right, let's move on. Let's move on. I hope that this is working. I love the layout. I love what they've done with it. Obviously, there's still plenty more that needs to happen, but this looks so much better than the other one to me. Anyways. Updates were made to the prison, including the kiosk, which received new gameplay items. Alongside this, the setup and inventories were adjusted across all shops for new commodities that come with the cargo refactor. They also updated the shops to support IAE merchandise. The shop setup for Pyro began and is ongoing. UI screens for the commodity kiosk, mission manager, and bounty hunting progressed well, too. That's exciting. Planning and documentation began for freight elevators and subsequent cargo refactor updates, which will begin in Q4 2022. Documentation and investigation began into multi and large container cargo delivery missions that could coincide with the delivery of T1 cargo. The Manchester and Frankfurt-based teams progressed with hull scraping, adding the finishing touches and quality of life improvements for its balance pass. Additional time was also put into the fresh derelict harvestables that can spawn in space to make them look more worn and authentic. Fresh derelicts. How are you gonna call a derelict fresh? What does that even mean? They also worked with the Montreal team to add some not clearly identifiable pieces to debris fields and help the US team with the cargo refactor. The team's work on gravity and life support is approaching final, with the remainder of the work on the resource management system that will bring it all together. Didn't they connect the functionality of the raft to cargo refactor? I don't think so. I think they said that the raft wouldn't work as it's supposed to until after the cargo refactor, but I don't think they said that like anything specific about when that would happen. Thought they were doing different cargo sizes and now they are packed, but really it's just stacking and exploding boxes. Yeah, so here they're talking about the different cargo sizes. I think we just read that. Multi and large container cargo delivery missions. And I think these are the larger boxes. These are 1 SCU boxes. We only worked with 1/8 SCU boxes. Oh, they've got serial numbers on them. Are those all? They're all the same. Never mind. That's not impressive. You think the quantum navigation and star map should be higher priority? Oh. Have you seen how long they've been working on them? Honestly, it feels like the star map's got to be the most like in-depth thing they're working on at the company at this point. They've been working on that monthly for over a year. Newly unwell derelicts. That works. The raft uses 32 SCU boxes. Yeah, it seems they're just working their way up to different cargo sizes. Why do we need an elevator to load the cargo onto the ship? Is it just because that is what they said? When they said it's about the elevators, did they say what the elevator does for the boxes? So when we talk about freight elevators, they're talking about the elevator inside the space station. So right now, when you take the only elevator that goes to hangars is the personnel elevator, which you can't fit boxes in, or the hospital elevator, which is kind of just like connected to hospitals, but they need to have really big elevators that can have like, 20 SCU of cargo on there that they can bring down to the hangar and you can pick up and take from there. That's all they mean by that. The star map better be good for how long it's been. Dude, oh my gosh, the star map better blow me away. No pressure. All right, back to it. Where were we? Meterfissions? Yes, okay, this is Meterfissions. Feature missions. Mission features added final polish to various missions, including a new ending to the prison escape that will add further excitement and a challenge. They then worked with art to further expand the Jumptown Drug Lab. The drug lab has doubled in size and includes a second entrance, second drug dispenser, and multiple windows and skylights to see inside. Question is, can you break through those skylights? Probably no. You're on a moon. To improve gunplay on the interior, we made it circular and removed most of the doors for longer sightlines. Circular? That's interesting. I actually missed that the last time I read this. How are they going to make it circular? They have that very rigid format for the outposts in Stanton. So that's... I wonder what that means. Jared said 4.0 next year. Well, Yeah. Yeah. 4.0 next year. Oh, did they mean circular as in like you can circulate throughout the building? It's not like go in and then come back out that way. Okay. Sorry, I'm a tomato. We think in circles, you know. What's up, Cinema? Trespass areas were also updated so that lawful trespass and entering hostile areas are now different. That's good. That is very good. Could use a little bit more with that lawful trespass. Like, I want to know, is this lawful trespass like you're gonna shoot me? Like I walked onto a military base kind of trespass? Do they don't even shoot people, do they? But like, how much danger am I in, you know? The name of the organ control of the area is also shown upon entering it. That helps a lot. Once access to the area is revoked, players are shown a countdown to when they will trespass should they remain. That's also super useful. Gosh, that's so nice. Like, quality of life fixes are just so heartwarming. Server meshing 2018. Ayo, we're already in Pyro. Pyro is just all the friends we made along the way. Y'all have been tricked, bamboozled, fooled. Finally, bugs related to crime stat and ship collisions were identified and fixed. We love some bug fixing. I think somebody was asking about that in the beginning of chat. Optimizations and bugs fixings abound in this report. Last month, the vehicle features team supported the docking and transit features. Both continue to be long-term requirements for the team as each release poses new issues, particularly with transit, which will likely remain until the launch of the new transit system. The new transit system, I believe, is something they're getting running for server meshing. Because of the way that servers spool up and spool down with server meshing, it will deload parts of the game. And for these transit systems, they have to make sure that though they recognize that they're still running in the background, even when they're not loaded into the actual game. And this whole rework of transit, of air traffic control, and all that stuff for server meshing has been huge. I think that's what they're talking about here. Can't be 100% sure though. Multifunction displays progressed well, with the weapons, emissions, and ship models submitted and working in-game. The self-status screen also made it into the Squadron 42 UI screen, and tasks were started for the comms and weapon self-status MFDs. We've got some MFD footage, folks. My favorite. Got it well and prepared, as always. Some of the new MFD looks. This is not confirmed to be what we'll actually get. These were concepts that they... Oh, that's John Crew. These were concepts that they got figured out a year and a half ago or so. Just to kind of show us the idea of where they were going. I think the readability with the different colors is a lot better. The graphical displays, you know me. You saw me with the other UI. I like graphics. I think those help me out a lot more. I'm not sure about circles to show my emissions, but you know, they show it on the top of the screen too. Overall, I like the way it's going. It looks much, much better than they used to. I just wonder how they're gonna look in every ship if they have like crazy color schemes like this, but we'll see. What is this? Oh, this is another one. Some HUD and MFT stuff. You can see the status screens up on the HUD as well up here. Just some little bit of UI stuff. You're now in game dev. You made it. You've done it. That feeling when you graduated high school and 3.0 came out, now you're in college. Hey, I'm happy for you though. That's good. That's pretty good. That's a good rate. Let's see. Work also began on the new version of Quantum Travel, which currently involves refactoring the current feature in preparation for a rework. Quantum Travel's getting a big rework, folks. We've been seeing the signs of it for a while. The monthly reports have been showing us in the VFX departments that they've been working on a rework for this system for at least the last few months. Now the features team is finally starting to work on it, which means it's probably like, I don't know, maybe a 4.0 target. I'm not sure. But things are going to change with Quantum. It sounds like they've been putting a lot of work to change the feeling for it. And now we know there's also Quantum Boost, which is going to have to see some of that rework included as well. I'm really excited for the new Quantum Travel. I think it's such a cool experience, and with like the right sound effects and visual effects for getting into Quantum Travel, being in quantum travel and seeing other people enter and exit quantum travel, like, it's going to be really cool. I hope that they do something when ships exit quantum travel to leave like a kind of a signature there, maybe some cool sci-fi space dust after you come out, just to show where you came from. Cool stuff. Do I know when the new star map is coming? I don't, David. It's been making a lot of progress, and they've been talking about working on it a lot lately. I believe they mentioned it here somewhere. But it's still a ways away. They didn't even show it to us at CitizenCon, either because it's not that far along or they're trying to hype it up a lot. We'll see. Hey, Coco. Good to see you. Thanks for dropping in. Hope it's not obnoxious when using the quantum boost. Yeah, I hope so, because it's going to be a very hop in, hop out kind of travel. It'd be good if it wasn't super in your face. Know the most an epic thing? Watching a ship go into quantum travel. It is. It's so cool. Has anybody not seen it? I got an example for you if you do want to see it. I have a few examples, actually. I think I've got a really good one of an 890 jump coming out of quantum travel. Don't know where I'll ever find that again. But here's some ships going into quantum. Very, like, quick. Oh, geez. I'm trying to see if I can find the footage of the 890 jump coming out of quantum travel, because it is so cool. But I don't actually know where I saved it. Oh man, I have no idea if I'm going to be able to find this. Where would that be? Where would that be? Maybe if I just look for 890 jump. Hold on. Was it 890 jump? Or was it a hammerhead or something? Anybody from the org remember us shooting that video? I do not remember what ship it was or when I saved it, but we had a shot of like 4 or 5 ships coming out of quantum together. It looked so cool. Okay, let's get back to this though. The team's AI support increased throughout October. This mostly focused on the ship versus player boss fights in Squadron 42, with the Cutlass now flying with its new behavior on a spline attacking the player. So we're going to be fighting Cutlass in boss fights. They don't know Cutlasses. They also supported the flight team with both AI and non-AI requests. Support for the Q4 ship releases began too, with tuning currently in process. Alongside this, the new ground vehicle tech was further developed and will be enabled in a coming sprint. Before this, issues with the Drake Mule driving like a tank will be resolved. More bug fixes, which is good. We've got some footage of the ground vehicle rework as well here. Let me pull that up. Basically what they're doing is they're making them feel a little more they're making them feel a little more weighty. Like there's more kind of tossing them around and weighing them down on the ground, and you can see that in this side by side. Where is that side by side? Here it is. So the vehicle on the right is the old way of driving. You can see how much it slips all over the place. Just basically floats across. No, wait. Nope. Okay, vehicle on the left is old. Look at how bouncy and floaty it is, especially when it comes over this hill here and gets some air and kind of doesn't correct itself at all in midair. Just leaves the ground and sort of floats like that. Now look at this one, hugging the ground a little bit more, bouncing around, and then when it comes off the ground, the front dips down and it's back towards the ground. You can kind of see the weight is a lot more apparent in this right one, the way that it's reacting to the ground and moving around. And I think it's going to be a more interesting and fun way to drive than what we have now, which is very floaty. And then they've also got this kind of, the physics have been broken. You had that Mass Effect Mako sort of situation with their ground vehicles right now, where they could just do anything they want. Whereas obviously, as you would expect, they're starting to add in the actual weights and inertia of the ground vehicles. Not super important, but it's like good. It's polish, I guess, on the ground vehicle gameplay. Something that we definitely need if we want to have more ground vehicle gameplay. Because right now it's just not fun to drive them. The vid you linked is the Ninetales lockdown teaser that I think shows what I'm hoping to see when ships drop out of QT. Oh, I know what you're talking about. Honestly, I like the Invictus Week trailer. Holy crap, I get chills. I get chills watching that. If they don't give an acceleration other than 0 or 100%, it is not a refactor. What do you mean? Is that referring to quantum travel? Buying a Spirit before or after the IAE? Me? No. I don't buy things, really. Like, I'll maybe upgrade a ship here and there, but I'm not buying anything at IAE. Frenchie. Bonjour, my friend. Welcome. Glad to see you here. Good to see you here again, my friend. It's been 3 months now you've been subbing up. Always a good conversation. Wish they would refer to doing planet placeholders like pre 3.0. That way they could crank out several systems already to at least give players places to visit. Jump travel is surely done, right? I don't think it is. I think probably they had some initial form of jump travel that they liked, but they've likely reworked it quite a few times in the last few years. So let's see, jump points. Yeah, it says they still got plenty of work going on it, but like, you know, if they weren't doing all the planet stuff, it definitely would have been done earlier. And some people are not happy about the planet stuff. I get that. Raj, how you doing? Good to see you. More failed to raid me. More went for the raid. It's okay. You forgot to add the gaming part. Gotta send it to another Space Tomato. It's okay, Morph. I understand. You're new to Twitch. It's fine. I get it. It happens to the best of us, dude. Thank you, man. I appreciate the thought. Thanks for the attempt. Welcome anybody who was able to come over from Morph's horribly misdirected raid. He's new. You know, newbies. But welcome in. We're doing some monthly report review. We're looking at the cool stuff they're working on and the not so cool stuff that they are also working on. And, you know, maybe making a couple predictions, ill-made predictions about when they might be coming to the game. Yeah, much love, Morph. I appreciate you, buddy. Hope you're having a good time. Are you the right tomato? Are you the right tomato? I'm not the right tomato, Griffin. You're in the wrong place. I'm sorry. I don't know what Morph told you. We don't do Star Citizen stuff here. Oh, Vape, I'll absolutely be doing the podcasts. We love putting them together. They are one of our pride and joy. When me and Mrs. Tomato came up with the whole idea, not the idea for, doesn't mean podcast, not an original idea. When we decided to go and do podcasts, though, we did not think it was going to go the way it did. And it's been really cool to see. What's going on with your cam frame rate? I think it's my cam link being messed up. I don't know. I unplug it and plug it back in and blow in it and stuff. Doesn't work. Thought he was about to pull out an SC mug. Coming soon. Yeah, man, you know, Elgato stuff. Hopefully I'll get that fixed soon. Yeah, the cam ring's overrated. All right. Morph, what did you think of this monthly report? Any favorites? Thanks for the follow, Raincloud. Just trying to understand the wipe. Purchase ships are the only thing that survive, right? Why not all ships if bought in-game or not? If you can keep one, why not all unless money? So the main reason for the wipes in progress are in order to rebalance the game. Because if they are, as they're building this game, they're testing it out. They drop in new missions, they drop in new ships, they drop in new things to do. And at some point, either they run into an exploit, or there's a big glitch, or something else is happening. Like, for instance, there was this huge thing earlier this year where like everybody got a ton of money, and basically it starts to eliminate the need for people to keep working in the game and trying to make money and trying to buy ships and doing things with those ships. Same goes for items and weapons and all that stuff. So it helps them get better testing if they wipe progress, because then they can reset things. Like, let's say they released, I don't know, a new mining ship to the game, and it cost 10 million UEC. And what they want to know is like, is it going to be too difficult or too easy for people to work their way up to get that mining vehicle? If everybody already has 10 million UEC because there was like a glitch exploit where people could get money for no reason, they won't even be able to see that. So you'll see wipes for that kind of stuff. You also see wipes for when they redo the back end game. So like when they do PES, persistent entity streaming, they'll probably have to wipe a lot of stuff because they're completely changing the way that objects are tracked in the game, and the old system simply doesn't work with the new. Overall, though, they usually don't wipe very much. We went 18 months, I believe, without a progress wipe. And they break them up too. They say they can wipe your ships, your items, or your reputation. And I believe they're trying very hard to preserve at least ships and reputation when they do them. Completely expected. Nothing is nearly 100% copy pasta from Squadron. Well, I asked the same question about the Squadron one then. What did you think? If there was less buggy missions and less elevators of death and other buggy ways to die, it would be awesome and easier to gain money. That's true. You heading to sleep, Morph? All right, cool. I'll catch you later, friend. Thanks for the raid, buddy. Does your keeping a bot in-game ship unbalance the game? They could fix a glitched ship, not arguing. Just seeing one standard for purchased out of game and not in-game purchases glitch applies to. Honestly, if they could, I bet you they would wipe your ship in-game too. Or the ship that you bought out of game too. But they're legally not allowed to do that. So I think that's probably the reason for that. But as for the ships earned in-game, does you keeping a ship in-game unbalance it? No. But I think if millions of players, or millions, if tens of thousands of players kept their ships in-game, then yeah, it would probably become not necessarily unbalanced, but hard to test. And like, the important thing to remember is, while this is a game that we all like to play, it's going to be in testing up until they release it. So they kind of get to just do weird stuff until that happens. Sure, it helps with money too. Like, I don't think there's any denying that helps them with ship sales, and ship sales are what keep the company running. So I'm sure that factors into it. Does not apply to ships though. It's more for gameplay loops and missions. If people already have the ships, they can't guarantee analytics because people are obtaining the ships from an Aurora. Is also to motivate people to test all the gameplay. If we all kept our ships, we wouldn't be doing the starting missions they want tested. All thanks for conversing with me on this, just taking my brain trying to understand. Thank you all. No problem. Even after the development phase, I would actually be happy if we had regular wipes like every year, every 3 years. Oh, people would be so mad. Oh my gosh. It'd be interesting to see if a game model like that could work though. Maybe just call it like a... They do that in some games, right? Like Tarkov? Understand we're paying alpha testers, not biggie on that, but at least they should try to give more to the community. Example, 5 years playing, here's a ship or AUEC credits to buy one in game. I don't know how I feel about it. I think that they definitely should try to like give players rewards for helping, but I also see like the things that we like, the events and all that kind of stuff, as part of the rewards of helping to do the testing. I'm not sure how I feel about people just getting monetary value just for being here. Most people do not grind up from starter ships, so it's nothing to do with balance or stats. More likely a bug and or exploit from endless problems created over the month. Maybe, but they have stated both. Like that the wipes are so far apart. Rust wipes very quickly, hence I don't play it that much. Yeah, and hopefully they'll get further and further apart as we keep going. We get rewarded in unique skins, plushies, and armor. We do get the armor. Yay. Let's keep going. Master modes progressed well in testing. The team confirmed the speeds for SCM, boost, and quantum travel and are now testing racing ships and looking into how to balance disabled ships as they change between SCM and quantum travel. We also use this opportunity to rebalance a lot of weapons, redoing the differences in behaviors we had reset for the Alpha 314 rework. That is good. That's good to hear. Resource network support continued with the power conversion with power conversation and initial work on integrating heat components. The team are currently setting out their design support for the feature as a lot of components will need converting once the technical work is complete. Alongside this, the aiming refactor is now almost complete. Aiming refactor? Aiming refactor? What? With the remaining work focusing on implementing the new UI. What? What is that? What is an aiming refactor? Have we ever heard about that before? Because, like, does that mean, I mean, they've talked about turrets a little bit. They talked about the turret weight, I think, when they were showing off salvage. But that's the only thing I know about when it comes to aiming. But since this is, yeah, this is features in the vehicles department, this probably is the same thing they're talking about. New UI too. That's exciting. It's where you refactor aiming. Yo, Tracer. A big step was made on control surfaces. Grunt birthday party sound, yay! Now ships gliding without thrusters have been reduced over the previous surface model. Finally, the new restricted area system passed its go no go and is now enabled. We'll be seeing new restricted areas probably in 3.18. In October, the team continued to focus on damage maps, fixing missing initial damage on debris, incorrect damage map sizes, and inconsistencies between ship sizes. Hey, Artex, I like the angle you're coming from, and I think this is a good topic to discuss. I don't know if you're comfortable on microphone or in front of people or anything, but I mentioned earlier that we're starting a new kind of talk show here on the channel that I'll be doing once a month, where you can actually come into the Discord and talk about these kinds of things in person. And I think this is a good discussion. I'd love to have it with you. If you are willing to hop into our Discord, basically anybody who's active in our Discord will have the ability to join in on that. So if you want to talk more about that, would love to see it in there, because you have a good point. Being a solo player with these wipes is tough, and it'd be interesting if we could figure something out with CIG to help with that. Besides this, I'm just going to skip down to here. They closed out Rastar V1 and fixed the remaining bugs and crashes raised by the content teams. There were also various fixes submitted for rivers, yay, and R&D began on water sim and water rendering improvements. Rastar is a huge deal, big deal. When it comes to trying to get all of these points of interest into the game that are going to be the places where we actually play the game instead of the planets. So when you're looking at stuff like these, or when you're looking at places like, oh geez, where are they? Places like these, or this, any of these kinds of points of interest out on the planetary surface, even something like this, like just a derelict ship crash, all of this stuff. Okay, I won't say all of it. I know for a fact that settlements and outposts run through Rastar. I don't know about the derelicts just yet, but Rastar is like the thing. That's what's going to make our gameplay areas, and they've got V1 finally working, so I think we're going to start to see even more of a speed up in those areas than we've already seen this year with these new ruins and stuff, which is good. Gonna need a lot of those, lots of planets. Lighting continued their work on Pyro and other locations, yada, yada, yada. Lighting's not very interesting. Locations in the EU team were continuing work on Pyro's rest stops, making great progress on the internals of the station. Have you all seen the Pyro concepts for space stations? I don't know if they moved forward with any of them, but the actual concepts that they had for Pyro or future space stations or wherever are beautiful. Look at these. Yeah, so this is Outlaw Space Station concepts. We actually haven't really seen the exterior of these space stations in Pyro. We've only really seen Ruin Station and mostly the interiors of these. And so between this and this and this one, this looks like a freaking spaceship. Something like this, or maybe something like these all look so Dune to me, kind of monolithic. And then there's this one. This is the one that we recognize. I think this is the one that they've modeled Ruin Station after. Don't know if that means that all these other ones were scrapped, but they all look really cool. And I do hope that we have wildly different designs like this from Pyro, considering the age discrepancy. Go back into the garden Discord. Wait, what? Oh, got back into the garden Discord. Welcome, Crom. Glad you're back. You want to see forests? Forests would be cool. Hopefully we can get like forests and jungles and stuff. I don't even know when it would be appropriate, to be honest. Like when the next planet to have that would be. Let's see, narrative team. Narrative. They continued to meet with the mission team to develop the investigation missions featured in narrative CitizenCon video. We saw that. After last month's push, the writers were tasked with coming up with sample mysteries for players to investigate to stress test the foundational system and see how scalable this mission could be. I'm excited to see what they do with it first. I don't have my hopes up that it's going to be some amazing narrative calamity that like really draws me in and it impresses me beyond other game missions, but I hope it's something that's interesting and difficult enough that it makes me want to play it again. That's all I want to see, because you can count the number of missions on one hand like that in the game. Think they'll stick to hangars instead of pads going forward? I do. Makes it a lot easier for them to load things in, I think, and protect from pad ramming. Ain't never heard of hangar ramming. Well, I have, but those people just die. In addition, they provided text for upcoming missions and open discussions on a handful of other mission types that will be coming in the next few patches. I hate when they say that because I don't know if the next few patches, like I don't know if that means 3.18, 4.0 in a year and then 4.1 6 months after that, or if that means like 3.18 and then 3.18.1 and then maybe 4.0. It's kind of a weird way to say it, and I think they did that on purpose. Taryn, thank you for the 100 bits. Sounds like we've got yet another call to prayer. When was the first one? That couldn't have been more than an hour and a half between, right? Let's see, getting back to it. Oh, I think that's actually mainly the narrative, the interesting stuff with narrative. Online services, we'll combine these three sections because they're not that much interesting going on. They worked on the new login flow, which is theorized to be thank you, which is theorized to be the main problem with 3.18 rolling out by some. We don't know if it's the case, but the fact that they're working on the new login flow could be part of that, because that is something that was heavily refactored for PES and something they tested like 4 or 5 different times. Do I have any concept images for jungles? I think I do. Probably like 4 or 5 different times they had to run Evo tests just to see if people could log in. So might be related, might not. I believe there is one concept image with a jungle. I'm not sure if I have it on my computer. Can't remember where it is. It might be Nemo. Let's see. Star Citizen concept art. No. Where was it? It's not Nemo. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? Jungle. Ah. Oso, that's it. Super easy to find. So this is the only like jungle-ish looking concept art I know of in Star Citizen. It's very lush. I can't ever imagine seeing anything like this in the game. But you know, they'll do something like it. They'll go for it. They'll give it a try. And that, knowing that is exciting enough. Ah, nice, Spurious. The concept art magician. Oh yeah, there's also the derelict ship in here. You're right. You're absolutely right. I guess I didn't even think of that as a jungle. But yeah, there's this derelict terrapin that they kind of showed as concept art for the new derelict stuff coming out. Okay. Another quality of life improvement that they've made to the game, friends list is alphabetical. Yay. The live tool team focused on persistent entity streaming, specifically the implementation of the login flow module in the network operations center. That's what we were talking about. Network login flow seems to be a thing with persistent entity streaming. Onto Turbulent on the web platform side. They did a couple of the ship release pages. They contributed to IAE. And they focused on generating brand alignment across the website, losing some of the legacy UI elements and bringing in a new look. This is great news. We've complained about this a lot on Inforunners, on my own podcast, on this stream, all over the place. So it's great to see that they're looking to bring some brand alignment to the website and make the UI look, because like, I mean, just look at this for a second. Somebody come look at this. Somebody come look at this. Look at the monthly report page. I guess I could have just done this. Black backgrounds, solid blue lines, white text. Like these sort of edges and branding and all fits. And then you back out to the main screen and suddenly you get like this space background with a grid pattern. There's transparency, like different types of text. It's so weird. And then the same happens if you go to like a ship sale page or something. Like if you go to any new page, it loads in with this nice new branding. They do kind of do the grid thing still, but like you can see that it's a much better use of the colors. There's a little bit of transparency there. Eating my words. But you can tell this is like a different style. This is looking newer, it's looking cleaner, it's looking better. Versus like, let's say, the ship matrix, which you go into there and it's like there's a picture in the background and you've got like it's all centered around this blue color palette. I'm glad that they're talking about updating the website because it's not been great. Too bad they couldn't get the Star Citizen domain. Yeah, somebody's squatting on it, I think. Yeah, they also need better menus. CCU page is totally different. Get a lot of disconnect there. I'm glad that Turbulent's talking about updating it. That's good. Okay, the community hub will emerge slowly as the most relevant place to see contests, events, and what other community members are live streaming or creating. As more features come online, it will begin to emerge as a social media platform where you can follow your favorite creators and never miss out on in-game events or live events. I guess I got to get involved in that because I don't use the, let's see, hold on. I don't really use the hub. I've signed up for it and everything, but I had a lot of trouble signing in it. Hey, look, it's me. Oh, okay. I guess I do use it. Well, that's fun. Very cool. Huh. The more you know. It's like using 5 different sites. Yeah, I couldn't sign into the community hub for weeks. Okay, UI. The team continued developing the new star map. Ayo. Particularly underlying tech to allow them to easily display it in different locations. For example, in ships, the mobiGlass, and potentially screens in levels. They also updated the controls and improved the look of planets. Gosh, the star map sounds like it's going to be crazy. They're like improving the looks of planets. I got to do a video on this. The star map it's rendering planets. It's rendering gas clouds. It's showing all kinds of details. It's showing route information. It's able to be shown on different services. It's got updated controls, and it's supposed to show solar system all the way down to local map. Like the star map is insane. If they release this thing and I don't fall out of my chair, then I want a free Idris. That's my price. Just give me that. If I'm not blown away, and I'm the judge of how blown away I am. CIG, you better pay me. No, really though, it sounds really cool. I'm excited for the star map. If you can't sign into the community hub, sign out of the RSI website, sign back in. Community hub should now work. I think it started working for me because I did that. I accidentally did that, but I realized the other day that I was now signed in. Game crash and opening the new star map. As long as I see one frame of it, just one frame. Watch us get the reveal on YouTube and it crashes your browser. Alongside working on the interaction prompts seen at CitizenCon, UI continued to adapt and bug fix the loadout system to ensure it works with persistent streaming, they just said. The new interaction prompts are really good. Let me pull those up. This is something that I've been really hoping for the last year or two. This should be huge with helping new players because you don't really know how to interact with the environment. But once we have FPS scanning, something they also showed off here, but also this new interaction system that shows what you're looking at and what can be interacted with or not. God, this is going to be so good for players. You get into the game and you don't even know how to pick things up. Granted, I don't know that with any game. The only thing after this is polished up, because obviously it looks pretty bad right now, like not very refined. I do hope that you can limit it or turn it off. And I don't see why that wouldn't be the case, but that seems like the most important quality of life addition there. Okay, October saw the VFX team complete their work on the salvage and repair feature. Cha-ching. 2 vehicles continued through the VFX production phase, receiving effects for thrusters, damage, atmospheric entry, quantum travel, and shields. Interesting that they said 2 vehicles and not 2 ships when these are clearly vehicles because they have quantum travel, or clearly ships. Usually they use vehicles for ground vehicles. So, I mean, I don't know why I said so. That's not an important point. But they are 2 vehicles going through VFX production, which probably means they're prepped for IAE. So at least 2 vehicles are probably coming into the game for IAE, as the video that came out last week on the channel said, and as many of you have already said, probably the Drake and the Pisces. But maybe there's something else there. Because they've been referring to the Pisces as a variant for the last few months, but you know, it's semantics. Let's just assume that these are the 2 vehicles we already know about. The team also implemented a task pool, which allows the artist to tackle various miscellaneous tasks that have accumulated in the backlog. This typically consists of minor bugs and quality of life improvements. Hey, more bug fixing for you out there. So it has been great to be able to focus on these things while continuing to support major content and features. Signed, the VFX team. And that's it, folks. That is your October monthly report. This one is freaking juicy. We had features galore in here. Just a lot of stuff going on in the company. A lot of stuff that kind of feels significantly different than it did a year ago or 2 years ago, where so much of the news that we're getting now is talking about actual features that we can imagine ourselves using. You know, they're not talking about signed distance fields were refactored so that your hand would hit the wall where it was supposed to. Like, you know, yeah, we're still getting that kind of stuff, but now we actually get to hear things about like quantum travel, get to hear things about the resource network, hear things about like the actual locations we already know, like Jumptown, getting a much better inclusion, work on the inventory systems or the cargo refactor systems. We get to hear about active stuff going on in the arena commander stuff. We're hearing about things that we're getting videos on at the same time, like the interaction system and scanning. So it's just feels a lot better to be going through these monthly reports than they did a while ago. And I look forward to more of that as the team continues to get better workflows, kind of finalize some of these underlying tech problems. And best of all, I think all of these teams are finally starting to get comfortable working together in the correct format. Like they're getting into offices, they're pumping out work, they're talking between designers and developers and feature teams and content teams and level design teams, and they're all kind of melding a lot better than they used to. So the development as a whole feels a little more cohesive. It feels like there is a lot more driven development going on in the various parts of the game: ships, features, locations, points of interest, backend tech, engine, AI. All of them feel like they're on a better path to give us something fulfilling rather than just like random stuff here and there. You personally don't care for the Corsair. You're happy for everyone else who's excited about it. I am pumped for the Corsair. What do you guys think of this one though? You don't think those ships are going to be flight ready? I mean, if they're doing like quantum travel effects, that feels like the last kind of stuff they usually do. Especially because it seems like the ship art team had no work to do on them either. This is all exciting. The PU is just not there yet for me to recommend anyone to try it yet. Yeah, I don't tell people to try it. I only tell people to try it if they are for sure. But most people, yeah, probably shouldn't be jumping in just yet. Anything more on Theaters of War? Yeah, it doesn't exist. We might as well assume it doesn't exist at this point. That's gonna be a pain point, I think, until they actually do get it into a releasable state and it's playable. Until then, it's kind of a joke. Might do a video on that next year. Cause that was, oh god, that was all bad. One of them has to be the Corsair. Oh, one of them has to be, and Corsair might be the one. On here? I feel like they would have named the Corsair. Now I'm tempted. Hold on. Star Citizen monthly report September. Let's see if they've referenced ships in that section before. PU is so much better than it used to be. It is getting much better, yeah. No, they didn't reference any ships here. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that is the Corsair. Maybe these are the ships we already know about. Looking forward for that Space Tomato video after Gen 12. Gonna do a big video on Gen 12. Hope they don't break the naming convention for Drake ships. Clive, what was your comment earlier? Holston Coop. Freaking 24 months as a member on YouTube, my friend. God. I keep telling you guys, Holston, we want to cover you guys with the memberships and subs. You're already doing so much as a mod. Thank you for modding. And just being an amazing friend and hanging out here for 2 years now, dude. Thank you. Are you still playing the game? Are you playing Star Citizen much? Ships we know about, especially we have already seen a hint of a new ship at IAE. Yeah. You're wondering about the new Drake ship. It looks bigger than a Prospector, but smaller than a Mole. Yeah, I had trouble telling what it was exactly based on the perspective, but it does look bigger than like a Prospector or something like that. 30 plus meters maybe. The Creekos. welcome to the sub club, my friend. Thank you for becoming a sub on Twitch. If you join us on Discord, you'll be getting exclusive videos every month that you are a sub, as like a thank you, but also as like a thank you, you know? Enjoy your content and even kill mentality. Even kilter? Either way, thank you, friend. 07s, buddy. Not at the moment. You'll look into it if IAE and then starting with 318. Cool. Be happy to have you back, Holston. Yeah, I don't know where your comment was, Clive. I missed it. Oh, it seems to me that CIG are aiming the game more to multiplayer and multi-crew at the cost of solo players. The game has, from the start, always been angled towards playing together. It depends on how you look at it, as saying a cost to solo players. Solo players should be completely empowered to do what they need to do, given the tools that the game gives you. So like, as a solo player, you should be able to take a solo player ship out and do everything you need to do to make that money. If you want to mine, if you want to salvage, if you want to explore, if you want to fight, investigate, you should have the full experience. However, having other players with you does unlock other things. I don't know how to phrase that. I don't feel like it's taking away from solo players. I feel like it's just building on the experience. But I'd have to think about it more, because you really got to look at each feature to understand whether or not it's actually being built up by multiplayer gameplay, or if it's being dumbed down by solo player gameplay. When it comes to flying ships, I think that it's pretty balanced. As a solo player, you should be able to take ships out and do what you want, but there do need to be consequences for, you know, taking a ship out that's too large. As an MMO, I think it's going to definitely benefit having other players around to play with, but I think they're still looking out for solo players quite a bit. And you can see that with things like the mining gadgets that they bring out, or the fact that you can get one of the smallest ships in the game with a bed in it so that you don't have to go back to other space stations. Or that you can get NPC crew or AI blades to help with your ship's functionality. Or yeah, the new solo player mission escape. That's kind of, before you would need friends to escape from prison. Now you can do it solo. And yeah, GQ's got the anecdotes, and AI announced the AI buddy system. So I think they're looking out for solo players. I just think it's two segments of the game for sure. Do I think the Carrack might get med bays to replace some of those cargo pods? Nah, I think the Carrack will stay the exploration stalwart it is. They've got a medical center. You found out firsthand how hard it is for solo players to get people to play alongside? Really? You had a bad experience in game? If you'd like some players to play with, my group would be happy to jump in game with you if you're looking for people. We usually are playing weekly. We got people in America, in Europe, even out in the Pacific. And yeah, that's weird that you had trouble with finding players to play with, though. Usually they're pretty nice. Thanks for all the good content. Really is pulling me towards trying the game the 18th. I'll have a video out about that event later this week that'll help you with some kind of guide stuff and getting started with that event. But I'm glad that the content has been helping. Listen, folks, I gotta go give my doggy some food, make sure she's good, and have some dinner with the wife. So I'm going to call it with this. I'm going to send you all on a raid over to see Moist Noodle. Good friend, good buddy. We haven't raided in a while. Usually doing some combat work. Looks like he's getting ready to fight in some ships. Check him out. Say hi. I'll try not to butcher the raid like Morphologist did. But again, I appreciate you all being here. Thank you so much for joining, for coming and reviewing this with me. Monday streams are always good fun. Oh, we have a giveaway to run. Give me 1 second. All of you over on Twitch, you've probably put in your tickets. This is for a little Nerf gun in game. We're giving it away here on the stream live. Let me just pull that up. Get in your last tickets, folks. And then on Monday, what are we doing on Monday? Or on Wednesday, I mean. I don't know. Think of something on Wednesday. Might do some new player experience stuff. Or something like that. Who knows? Exclamation point ticket will help you get a ticket into the giveaway. If you got some points. I see you guys redeeming those tickets. I'll be closing the giveaway here in about 30 seconds. I do feel like IAEs are about to become more exciting rather than less exciting over time. I'm optimistic about the whole process. They are getting there. It's just taking its sweet time. It's taken forever. What's really excited about IAE though is the possibility, because it's traveling every year, right? So the possibility that it could be in any star system in any year. Imagine in 5 years time when we have, I don't know, okay, let's go crazy. Imagine in 10 years time when we have theoretically 15 star systems. The weeks that IAE is going on, everybody's going to go to that star system. And the economy is going to go crazy. Missions are going to be all over the place. Things are going to be happening. Like, they could really use IAE to be a big driver of additional gameplay and activity for like a good month out of the year. So that kind of stuff's super exciting. Yeah. On Terra would be cool. Yeah. All right, I'm going to close this event. Let's draw a winner. Thank you all for being involved. I hope you enjoy your Nerf gun, whoever the winner is. And here we go. Giveaway is closed. Nice, got your last ticket in there. And the winner is... Zinthos. Zinthos, a classic. Been around with a 1.67 percent chance of winning. Congratulations, Zin. You are our dart gun winner. I hope it saves you against the horrible Vandul sometime. Just pull it out. Appreciate it, friend. We'll get that sent over to you. Mrs. Tomato will be in contact to get your info on email and stuff. And we will... Ooh. You guys aren't supposed to see that. Stop that. I will send that over to you. She'll be in contact. And we'll get you your dart gun. Dart gun? Little foam gun. Whatever. Anyways, folks. Thanks again for being here. Much love to you all. It's been good fun. I will see you on Wednesday. Make sure to check out that newest video if you haven't to see what ships are coming out soon. And have a wonderful week, everyone. Bye-bye, folks.